It's all about the hook. Women tend to feel a bit more cringy after posting on LinkedIn.
250,000 LinkedIn followers, and you think, oh my God, like, how am I going to get there?
If you want to go to LinkedIn because you want to get viral, it's not the place for it.
Yeah. My guest this episode is Priscillia Mudiaki, who is the content and creator manager at LinkedIn. She supports creators and executives from international companies across Europe, Middle East and Africa to amplify their voice. She's passionate about helping people build influence on social platforms. Welcome to the Vanessa Podcast, a business and careers podcast where I give you the lowdown on the latest news and chat with influential movers and shakers, top achievers, and all-round incredible people. We explore their viewpoints, how they've got to where they are, and how you can too. I'm your host, Vanessa Sanyauke, the founder and CEO of The Hill and Girls Talk. We connect the world's largest employers with talented people. We have a global community of over 60,000 women, helping them to level up in their careers. If you want to learn more about how the world economy affects you or how others have made their dreams come true, then grab your favorite drink. This is your time to laugh, learn, and level up. Well, Priscilla, thank you so much for being my guest on this episode of the podcast. I'm so excited for our listeners and viewers just to hear all of the gems that you have given me and so many other creators on LinkedIn. But I guess before we kick off, do you want to just let us know, who you are and what you do at LinkedIn and a bit of your career journey?
So thank you so much again, Vanessa, for this opportunity. My name is Priscillia, Pris for the close friends. And I am a creator and community manager at LinkedIn. I've been within the influencer marketing for about 4 years now. Coming from a journalism background, actually. This is how I started until I moved to the social media space. So what I do now at LinkedIn is just helping out, coaching, co-founders, entrepreneurs, content creators, C-level executives to really build their personal brand on LinkedIn and just to reach their goal basically organically through their content.
Okay, fantastic. And I guess, thinking about LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn has now over, I'm sure it's more, 1.2 billion users. That was the last data point. So it's growing thanks to people like yourself who are coaching people to kind of spread the word. Well, it is the go-to platform. If you're a founder or an employee, you really have to be on LinkedIn. What are some of the trends and changes that you've seen in the past 6 months in terms of how people are using and leveraging LinkedIn?
I guess within the last 6 months, I have seen a change or shift in why people are posting on LinkedIn. Okay. It's no longer just a place for your CV. It's also a mirror, a journey. It's a place to share more than just your career, really, just build your voice. So I've seen people using LinkedIn to really tell a story. They are building their voice on the platform. And I guess the shift towards video has also helped to amplify that. We've seen on LinkedIn 1.4 times more engagement from videos other than other formats. So people are telling stories. They are really building a strong voice using different formats to really explain where they get to where they are today. So it's about sharing how you got to your new job, what are the pitfalls you went through. So I see founders funding new co-founders just by sharing their stories on the platform. I've seen people landing a job just by posting a post they were not ready to post at first. So it's really a platform to build conversations. This is what I've been seeing.
I love that because you've just reminded me that it's about telling your story. And I think I've been guilty in terms of forgetting. I'll just be like, okay, I need to post three to 4 times a week and I'm just posting. But you're right. It's thinking about the story. You mentioned video. That's a big thing for LinkedIn right now. What types of video content are you seeing that's working well? And what kind of tips would you give people in terms of putting themselves on camera on LinkedIn?
I'd say the best performing videos I've seen so far are pretty short, real, and recognizable human. recognizably human, I would say. So there's a rise in a type of format more specifically, which is behind the scenes content or anything regarding the short stories, in your day-to-day life. I also see a lot of content around how did you get to the job that you are doing right now, the journey really about your career. People are really moving into explaining a bit more why they're doing what they're doing, or they're sharing as well their mistakes as well as their wins. I see as well a lot of executives breaking news on LinkedIn, which is something we haven't seen for a long time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. So, day-to-day, in the old days, I would say, people, when they want to make a huge announcements, such as Hugo Boss, Unilever, etc., they would just, use the traditional press releases.
Yeah.
But now, executives are taking it to LinkedIn directly to make those big announcements. They are breaking down their business updates, and they are making announcements using their LinkedIn profiles.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a huge shift. But it's not just a creative trend. Latest B2B marketer sentiment research has also backed up the rising use of videos. We've seen 75% of short-form videos helping the respondents, because I say it does help them to reach their decision makers. 77% say that it builds trust over time. So videos are definitely growing massively, and it's also connecting. It's not just posting and coasting.
Oh, I love that. Oh, okay. So it's like that short form behind the scenes. I read somewhere that LinkedIn were looking at, because I think I saw a press release around LinkedIn partnering with, I think, a few podcasters, so Stephen Bartlett. So is the platform going to bring long form on, or maybe like a 90-second reel? Like, what's the plan there?
Yeah, I'll say, actually, you mentioned the right number here. 90 seconds is always the ideal length for short videos. Short form videos are getting much more traction for sure, especially when it's eye-catching, when it stops scrolling, when it fits basically the way consumers are consuming content nowadays. However, here's a twist. Longer videos, it's still a win. It's still working, especially when it is structured as a conversation.
Right, okay.
So think of it like this. If people will give you basically 5 minutes of their time, if you can earn 10 seconds, by first 10 seconds.
Wow, okay.
That's the way it works. So it's all about the hook. Whether it's 6 minutes, 90 seconds, or whatever, it's all about having a clear hook first.
Okay.
And as soon as you have that, you focus into one single topic, not 5. You are knowledgeable of what you're talking about. The video feels human. People can relate and connect to it. And yeah, as long as you have that, then you're good. You're ahead of the trend.
Oh, okay. I love that. Thank you for that piece of advice. I want to move on to talk about company pages.
Okay.
So I've seen this with mine being a startup. We do see that nowadays company pages are getting a bit lower engagement. So I feel like it's still worth posting. So I still post on my company page. But now I've seen that actually when I share something on my personal page, and like as a founder, like I get so much more reach. So I wonder, like, what would be your advice for like founders or like employees? How can they use their personal pages to kind of like promote their businesses? Like, what would be your advice?
Okay, let's be honest. Company pages, sometimes they are used like a press releases.
Yeah.
It's all polished, it's really informative, but it's not really the right way to start a party.
Okay, I see.
You see what I mean? So, but personal pages, however, this is where it gets very interesting, because it gets messy, a little bit messy, a little bit human, basically. So I think personal pages is really where your why and impact really live. So here's how you should do it for founders like yourself and other entrepreneurs. I think first you need to translate the why into so what. So the goal, exactly what I'm trying to say here, is that when a company, for example, is launching a new product, the company page will just explain what it is around, where your personal page will help to explain what it meant, why it matters, why it meant, for example, for the engineer who's been building the product after 10,000 of revisions, what it meant for the marketer who has launched the product, or for the users whose life has made 10,000 better. So it's really about translating that what from your company page and exploring the personal page to explain so what, why it really matters. And this is where your voice also matters a lot. So the second tip I would share is to make sure that you are building your voice on your personal page and not the corporate one. A good example to look at is Essie Eggleston-Bressy, who is the CMO at Unilever. So when she posts about company updates, she does not just repost it. She actually adds some perspective behind it. She really adds some context, values, and her voice to it. So whether she posts about a brand wins or a leadership or marketing lessons, she brings her perspectives to the forefront. And I really like that. This is how it works because it's all about the human decision maker with a lived experience behind every company news or updates. Because people can then resonate a bit more to that, actually. So I think the goal is always to make sure to have a nice balance of that. However, if you're really looking to make your company page grow a lot and have that visibility and really focus on reaching that goal, there are a couple of tools you can also use, such as the Premium. So actually Premium on LinkedIn is a nice way to grow your page because you can see up to 7.5 times more engagements when using that tool. So it's all about being strategic as well if you really want to do it.
That.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for your company page, definitely.
Yeah. I guess sometimes I feel this way, and I know a few others. Sometimes you just feel not cringy, but you just feel like, oh my God, like on LinkedIn, right? It's not like, okay, if you're on your Instagram or TikTok and you're being silly, you don't feel as cringe. But this is obviously a professional network, and like their clients, my boss, my colleagues might see it, and sometimes you get in your head a bit. So how can people start to feel a bit more comfortable and like sort of stick to, not there's a line, but kind of like you want to keep it professional-ish, right? Without kind of, going sort of like too personal. How do you maintain that balance and then not feel like self-conscious, like, oh my gosh, I'm like filming myself in a video and getting those thoughts in your head?
That cringe effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really about like, that fear, hitting pause button and feeling really, really sort of stupid afterwards, or because you feel like after you post, there will be an army of eye rolls people.
That's what you think. That's what you think. People are like, oh, here she goes again. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what you think. And well, first of all, if you feel that way, I want to basically say to you first that you are not alone. And I did notice that feeling comes much more from women. Women who tend to feel a bit more cringy after posting on LinkedIn. And I guess it says a lot about the system we're part of, rather than the content itself. We've been told to be very quiet before with your career. We've been told to wait before going heavily into our goals. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done first around that. So it has nothing to do with the content first. But here's how to do it to really feel a bit less awkward. I would say first you need to frame basically your post like a conversation. It's like you're talking to someone. Whether it being your friend or your colleague, really use that tone of voice whenever you're posting to feel like, okay, it's not you posting into a platform that has billions of members, but it's you having conversations over coffee with your colleague, of your friend. That would definitely help. If you're posting about you speaking on a panel, it's not about you saying, hey, this is the way I spoke, but think about this structure. Here's what I learned from speaking on that panel. Here's what you can't see that I've done. Maybe you're seeing myself speaking on that amazing Cannes Lions stage, looks good, but you don't see my hand shaking while I'm on stage. So you see what I mean? Yeah. You really think about the storytelling behind that, and that would really help you then to feel much, much more comfortable. And I would say the people who are rolling their eyes, you think that people are rolling their eyes when they are seeing a post, first of all, they're not your audience. Because actually the people who are really happy that you have shared what you shared, they are really, really quietly grateful that you have shared what you just did, because without that they can't really see it. So, they are grateful. So don't really think about those people who you think might be judging you.
I love that. Because they are not your audience. Because sometimes you just think about irrelevant people. So focus on those who actually engage with your
look at those
content.
At your audience. Really focus on your audience. This is what matters the most.
And I wanted to actually get your opinion on this, because I think what I've seen in terms of the social media landscape is a little bit of flatlining. So it's not that the people with like 1 million followers, the goal is not like 1 million followers or a big following. It's a lot of focus on engagement.
Yes.
So are you seeing that on the platform, that because when you would see some people that would have 250,000 LinkedIn followers and you think, oh my God, like how am I going to get there? But then maybe their engagement might not be as high. So is that similar on LinkedIn? Like, is that following through? Like it's more so on the engagement and the likes, the comments?
That's a good question. Well, I would say LinkedIn is not really the place to go viral. If you want to go to LinkedIn because you want to get viral, it's not the place for it.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I always encourage people I work with to try to really refrain from heavily relying on the vanity metrics that could help you to understand that, your post went viral. So I'm talking about comments, likes, etc.
Yeah.
These are good to get a good indicators of how good your post is resonating with your audience. That's for sure. However, the type of wins or engagement you need to look at on LinkedIn is the quality of conversations you see in the comments, for example. If you shared something quite controversial, or maybe you have a different take on the Met Gala, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the idea for you is to look at the type of conversations your argument has sparked in the comment section. So if you are not getting the usual congratulations, thank you type of comments, and you're getting actually people that are adding, their insights, why they disagree with your take on the Met Gala, this is the type of things you should look at. Same as the DMs.
Yeah.
The DMs, it's something that's it's not really public, right? If you're getting the DMs where people are asking you to become your mentor of the fact that you have been sharing your journey and they find very inspired, this is the type of wins to look at. This is the type of engagements online that can really make a huge difference on LinkedIn. And they can also be offline. If you're that colleague in the corporate world that everyone knows who's been posting on LinkedIn, that's also a nice type of celebrity status that you get.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to see that you're actually getting engagement from posting on LinkedIn.
Oh, I love that. I love that perspective. When we're talking about, I guess, that aspect of being at work, there are now a lot of people who are professionals in the workplace who are actually leveraging LinkedIn to build a personal brand. What have you seen and how have they been able to do that? What are some of the practical tools that, people can think, I work in an office environment, but I have a lot of opinions. I want to have a voice. What advice would you give them? And what have you been seeing about those types of individuals?
Yeah, I think it's all about knowing first your audience and company. Okay. I mean, I don't work in the finance department or industry, for example. So this is my personal opinion. I might be completely wrong. But from what I can see, because my best friend actually works in that industry. So from what I see from her industry is that it's a bit more difficult and quite severe when it comes to showing your brand or who you are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So if I look at my best friend, for example, she will know what are the boundaries of what she should be posting or not on the platform, based on how strict or far behind the financial industry might be. So that's the first thing to bear in mind. You know your company, you know your industry, and that will help you to really lay down the type of things you can tell and what you can't tell. Okay. Then I would say it's all about your voice. It is what really matters. You don't belong fully to a company, or depending on the goal that you have with the company or your position, but your voice still matters. It's all about trying to find balance anyway, because your company will be on CV, it will be on your LinkedIn anyway.
Yeah.
So whatever you're sharing, it doesn't really have to be company updates, because people know already by checking your experience that you're attached to XYZ company. So it's all about talking about what matters to you and align with your industry and your career goals. So I would definitely say to you, go ahead, speak your voice, and as long as it is professional and has a place on LinkedIn, which most of the time happens, I think definitely feel free to go and share and see what type of wins you might get out of it. So yeah, always bear in mind your own boundaries and follow your intuition. You will know best.
Oh, I love that. Thinking about job searching. So a lot of people right now, it just seems like it's crazy. A few years ago, it was the employees market, but now it's really tough to find a job. Just from your perspective, if people want to stand out, so it could be even an entrepreneur, for example, a new client or someone who's looking for a new role, you hear so many different things about, having a good bio. Yes, it's really good. Having a good picture, or how you post. What would you say, if you're looking for a new client or a job interview, what would you say, from your expertise, if you're using LinkedIn to kind of have a voice or having a presence, what should we look out for? What should we make sure that we have on lock? The, top 3 things.
Everything actually matters from what you have mentioned in your question. Posting shows your voice. Engaging with your audience on LinkedIn will show your awareness of the type of job or industry you're trying to tap into. I would say you need to make sure if you want to get started, make sure to have a very good profile.
Okay.
So it all starts with having a clear title, where you can maybe amplify a bit more what you're looking for. If you don't have any job for right now, your title wouldn't be something about your job position in the company, but maybe it can be a space where you can talk about what you're looking for. Let's say something around, I am a marketing consultant looking to break into product marketing. Do you see what I mean? So your headline is very important here to get much more understanding to your potential recruiters, what you are looking for. The skills also matters a lot. So definitely play around your standout skills that you have honed over years.
Yeah.
That would definitely help as well recruiters to
Forget about that
get
section, actually.
Yeah,
The
it's
skills.
so important.
Okay, skills.
It's so important.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you're having a couple of links to your work, definitely as well, add it to the feature section or to any space really on your profile. Your profile has to be very optimized. And then obviously posting. So posting would be important. Engaging will showcase how active you are in the industry, looking for something, or how knowledgeable you are in a job that you might be applying for. Because the reality is like people will actually Google you, definitely. They would always Google you.
Okay.
But they message you after your LinkedIn profile, make them quite curious.
I see.
Think about this, yeah.
It kind of like solidifies you, I think, your LinkedIn. If you've got a presence on LinkedIn, like even when I'm looking for like people that I'm recruiting for, if they don't have like a presence on LinkedIn, I also get suspicious. I'm like, well, why are you not? You haven't even got a headline, you've got no profile, you've got no bio.
Yeah.
How do I know you are who you say you are?
Oh, you made me think actually one of the feature to bear in mind, very important, is making sure that your profile is verified. Because,
yes. I need to do that actually.
Yeah, it's so important because like you have a lovely name, Vanessa, but there are quite a lot of Vanessas in the world.
True, actually, yeah. So
you never know.
Yeah.
So making sure to verify your account basically helps to indicate any recruiters or any partners who want to work with you to see that you're really who you pretend to be, basically. So when you're verified, when you follow the steps, you're being asked to make sure your name matches your passport, etc. It's just a way basically to make sure that we know it's really you and not any scam account or something like that.
I love that. So get verified. I need to make sure. I do that. Yeah. The other question I wanted to ask you was around like being consistent. So I think we've covered kind of a lot around, the visibility, like making sure you have like your profile picture, we know, and we've talked about the features. But, I think LinkedIn's a platform where really, like you said, you really have an opportunity as an employee, no matter what level you are, to almost be a content creator, right? I think it's the place where you can actually get started. But getting started can be quite challenging and then keeping going. And we're hearing a lot around like being consistent. So you hear a lot of people say, if you want to be a content creator, you've got to be consistent. But then it's like, okay, what does consistency look like on LinkedIn? Like, what would you say? And I know in terms of generally, like how many times did you post? Is there a particular time? Like in terms of if people who want to be consistent, what would you say to them? What does it look like on the platform?
I think on the platform, being consistent is about showing up with intention.
Okay.
At least once a day in a way that, your audience can learn to expect and trust you. I think the key is always to pick up a cadence you can stick to.
Okay.
So it does help them to build recognition and trust over time. You will know best if you can commit to posting 3 times a week or only once a week. Same with your industry. If you're in the hospitality service, for example, from 9 to 5, you're not on LinkedIn. You don't have time for that. It's usually like in the evening where your industry will be quite busy and moving to the platform. So definitely check out your industry to get a better idea about when is the best time to post. So pay attention to your audience. It sounds simple, but so critical. Imagine if your network was in America, for example. Why would you post when they are sleeping?
It's true.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
See?
Yes.
So you need to make sure, timing definitely matters. So just make sure to post when your audience is. Bear in mind, try to understand who they are. And this is how you'll get a big impact. The platform is definitely busy now. So that's why like posting once a week is definitely a good rhythm. But always stick to something you can commit to. Consistency is all about showing up on LinkedIn with clarity and rhythm.
Okay. Yeah. And is there a particular time because I'm trying to test this out, but I can never get it. I guess because if you have audiences from different countries, but is there like a certain time, like, okay, afternoon in your time zone, the morning, is there a time that you would recommend?
I would say like in my industry, for example, I work in the corporate world and the majority of the people on LinkedIn I assume they would be in the corporate world. So the morning times when people are commuting, from 8 a.m., 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. is ideal. This is when your audience is tuning. Lunchtime as well is a very good time.
Okay.
And a bit after work from 5:30 to 7 p.m.
That's interesting.
But when you're founders or an entrepreneur, do you really stick to this time? Like you work all the time, right?
That's the thing.
That's the thing. Yes. That's why I always say, like, it's really important to look at your audience. You will get a better idea of what type of audience you have. If your audience is full of founders, posting on Sunday would work as well for you. Because founders and entrepreneurs will be working as well on Sunday.
So looking at that data and analytics and seeing like, okay, where do your people who engage with you, where do they...
where they are really, what type of industry they are part of, if they are in the corporate world, if they are founders, etc., you will get a better idea on how they can engage with you. And also, it's all about your goal, right? If you're trying right now to reach to sponsors or potential partners in, let's say, in the finance industry, you know that these people will be working from, ideally from Monday to Friday. It would be hard for you to get their attention over the weekend. So,
you want to optimize that time.
And you have to optimize.
Oh, I love that. There's so many tools available on LinkedIn. Like you mentioned, I almost forgot about the data and analytics. Are there any tools that are currently available for people or anything that's coming up that will really help people on their journey in terms of having more of a voice on the platform so that they can connect with the right audience?
Yeah, sure. I think I mentioned that earlier. Video, it's still king, definitely. We've seen a 36% viewership going up here over here. So video is still something to, it's a format to leverage. Newsletters are still very huge.
All right, newsletters.
Yes, definitely. I think
people read them, like...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we have around 139 million unique subscribers. So as long as your newsletters are, perfect for niche expertise, insights for these people, definitely, tap into it.
Okay.
Sales Navigator can be really good as well, brilliant for business developers, more specifically than content creators, definitely, but it's worth mentioning. And the analytics tab, when we mentioned that very briefly earlier, but the analytics is a free dashboard when you can get so much insights on when your audience is showing up, what you should, tweak a bit in your strategy, what is actually working for you, and have a very healthy habit when it comes to analytics. Don't look at it every single day.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm that kind of person that would be like every day. Like,
no. No. Try to really, because you need to give time to your content to really perform, your audience to change over time, to really get a better idea about what you should really tweak. So maybe, once a month, if you're really, really into it, or once every quarter, it's enough. I would say for now, these tools are really important. Just use them with purpose. LinkedIn is just a platform, but you're providing the perspective.
Okay, fantastic. And I guess just to wrap up, is there any kind of thing that you want to, one thing that you would say to our audience who are listening or watching and they really want to up their LinkedIn game? What's one thing you want them to take away from our chat with you? One thing to remember.
One thing to remember. I've been sharing so much.
I know,
and there's a lot.
I guess the one takeaway.
But I would say the authenticity is very important, because I still see a lot of debate around does it really matter to be authentic on LinkedIn? What should I get around that? Yeah, being authentic is very important. Yeah. And when I'm talking about authenticity, I'm not referring to sometimes people think about the heavily dramatic sort of content.
Yes, getting too personal.
Yeah, too personal. I mean, it does matter. I'm not saying that those posts don't matter. They definitely do. But authenticity can also be quiet honesty. What I shared earlier about you being on stage, but people not being able to see how your hands are shaking. Or, maybe you got the job, but actually, you got the job after 100 rejections. This type of honesty is you being authentic. Yeah. It makes it easier for people to relate to, because sometimes I feel like sometimes people, they're not really happy when you're winning. Sometimes there's a bit of jealousy around. It's just the way it is. So if you try to make it a bit more relatable for them, they'll be like, oh, actually, okay, she won not because she's so far behind, like she had this amazing career. She won, but she's still going through that. And I can relate to that. Yeah. And that is actually much more inspiring to me, who at first might think that this person is way too far for me to, as a model to reach to. So I think it's all about just try to sound like a person. And that message is really important in this age of AI. So I really want to reinforce that, really, really just try to always sound like a person, someone who's real, someone who is flawed, someone who is learning. And the platform LinkedIn is the platform for that.
I love that. Be authentic. Yes, I love that. Oh, Priscilla, thank you so much for being my guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much.